everyone, I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining me. I want to talk about this shooting that happened in Fargo, North Dakota last Friday, a week ago. Mohammed Barakat, who is a Syrian nationalist. He came to the United States as a refugee in 2011 and got his citizenship in 2019. He was one of the Syrians that Barack Obama allowed here into the United States with no vetting at all. I'm sorry, this is probably the best picture, the only picture that I could find of Barakat. He probably came here with the intention of doing a mass killing. For the last 5 years, even before he got his citizenship, he did internet searches for terms such as fast kill, explosive ammo, incendiary rounds, and mass shooting events. He even did searches for area events where there were crowds, and on July 13th, there was a news article that read, "Thousands enjoy the first day of downtown Fargo street fair." On the day of the attack, the downtown fair was in its second and was less than 3 miles from a crash scene. There was a fender bender where the 4 officers showed up. All 4 officers were on scene for the fender bender. 1 car had been moved. They were in the process of moving the other car when Mohammed Barakat casually pulled into a parking spot across the street or down the street from where the accident was at. And when the officers turned maybe to leave the scene, that's when he opened fire, shooting 3 of the officers, killing Jake Wallen. They didn't even know what was happening. Barakat armed with what's called a binary trigger. And what that is a gun that when you pull the trigger, it fires 1 bullet. When you release it, it fires again. So rapid was the gunfire when he shot all 3 while still in the car. They didn't even have time to pull their guns from their holsters. Officer Zach Robinson was the man that finally brought down this crazy lone wolf. Barakat was armed with 3 long rifles, 4 handguns, over 1,800 rounds of ammunition, a homemade grenade, which there's an image of that right there, 3 cans of gasoline, and 2 propane tanks. His original target was probably the street fair there in Fargo. Thank God he didn't get that far. He was planning something really big. It just shows you how dangerous this world has gotten. Here's an image of his car with the gas containers, and I don't know where the propane tanks were at, and the fender bender that he stopped to take advantage of the situation where the officers were just going about their daily business was off to the left. So after he shot the 3 officers in rapid succession, he got out of his car and went around to the back side over here and used the car as cover. Evidently, Officer Zachary Robinson put his life on the line and charged this crazy, hell-bent to kill as many people as he could, putting his life on the line, and brought that nut down. The shooting evidently lasted 2 minutes. Also injured was the one young lady who was involved in the fender bender when she was rushing to get out of the line of fire when these 3 officers were shot. He then turned his gun and shot the young lady. Barakat also had been going to firing range and practice shooting quite often. He also took an EMP classes, probably to find out what type of wounds would be the most deadliest. One of his shots evidently was able to disable the long rifle. It held over 80 rounds, and there was still 20 rounds in the gun. Barakat then pulled out a 9mm and started waving that around, and Officer Zach Robinson evidently yelled 16 times for him to lay down his weapon and put up his hands before he shot and killed Barakat. Officer Jake Walleen was the newest and was still in training. He was only 23 years old, recently bought a house, had a wife and a young baby. The first thing he did when he bought his house was go out and buy a lawnmower and mowed the front lawn because he was so excited to be a homeowner. Officer Jake Robinson, he's married, he has one child and another on the way. His wife is pregnant, and he put his life on the line to protect the community and take down that mad dog. But it just shows we do not know anything about so many of these refugees that come into the country. This guy got his citizenship, and even before he's got his citizenship, he was doing online searches and internet terms like kill fast, explosive ammunition, incendiary rounds, and mass shooting events. I live here in South Dakota, and I've been through Fargo. You would never expect something like this to happen here. The world has changed. We definitely need to keep our heads on a swivel. You just don't know. You could be going to the local store. You could be going to a local event, a fair, and something like this could happen. Yeah, this man was armed. He was definitely planning something much worse. Maybe he was using disposable phones. I don't know. His phone evidently only had 5 contacts. They did find more weapons and ammunition at his apartment. They found a Quran. I might be saying it wrong. You know, it's the Muslim book, kind of like their Bible. They did find that in his apartment. But he kept a very low profile. He wasn't registered with any mosques. He never talked to any of his neighbors. They know very little about this man. Yeah, how many else are out there? What are your thoughts? Put your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, please stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. God bless you all. Bye.